It has never been a more exciting time to be part of uni life. For most, university marks an important milestone for students. From their first experience of living away from home, to creating lifelong friendships, and to sampling what life has to offer outside of study time.
I expect it to be, fun, interesting.
Cameras exclusively followed students and staff from 8 universities as they journeyed through an unforgettable year of challenges, new experiences, and celebrations.
We graduated!
This is my uni life. This week, we catch up with University of Galway archivist Niamh Ní Charra, who's in Mayo to help showcase Mary Robinson's landmark archive.
I love the girl power now of young climate activists.
We return to the TU Dublin students who are designing an important space for a Dublin inner city community.
Throughout the year, I was kind of thinking oh my gosh, this is really hard. What if I can't do this?
And we are at the Irish Indoor Championships with UCD's Darragh McIlhenny as he continues on his Olympic journey.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah, have to get yourself ready for it.
The HIST Society at Trinity College Dublin is officially the world's oldest university debating society, dating back to 1683. Through the ages, students have been debating key political, social and cultural issues of the day, giving young minds their first taste of public speaking.
Some of the famous members we've had Bram Stoker, Wolfe Tone, Edmund Burke, of course, Henry Grattan. The main tradition of the HIST is that every Wednesday for our entire lifespan, essentially, we have had our chamber debate. It is the main meeting of the HIST for the week. We debate different topics, again, often relevant to the current situation. In addition, we've been having a lot of success in competitive debating over the past years, which is a slightly more gamified version of debating. We've been to the European Debating Championships, the World Debating Championships, and had good success at both.
Our weekly chamber debates are always kind of have a little bit of a special place in my heart, and I think always will. We currently hold the record for the most points ever received at the European Debating Championships. We also are the society who's won the Irish Times debating competition the most times, which is a really big achievement.
We bring in guests as well as students, which has always kind of been a core part of it, bringing in people who understand the topic and who have a lot of knowledge about it as well to speak content or conduct in the debate.
The theme of this week's debate is the use and misuse of cultural appropriation.
For this topic, we partnered with Afro-Caribbean SOC first, and then discussed about what kind of motion they felt would be interesting for their members to discuss and what kind of motion we felt would make for a good debate. So it was a very collaborative process.
Sam from the Afro-Caribbean Society is making his debating debut.
I would like to announce that the question before the House this evening is this House would ban cultural appropriation, and I should now like to call upon our first speaker of the House to propose the motion.
I was very nervous. I was extremely nervous. I was shaking during the whole thing, but I was right, just make a few jokes. Once they laugh, they're going to be more inclined to like me. Many people would choose just not to hire black people in certain aspects of modeling, but instead they'd rather hire someone who appears to be black, who has black features, who has done 20-inch box braids, maybe cornrows, bantu knots. Something of the sort, has tanned their skin so hard that they appear to look like my auntie from Lagos. It feels good to be welcomed by an audience. So I did get more comfortable as they were laughing, because it's right, I'm familiar with these people now, I've broken the ice. So I'm going to be more confident in speaking and everything, yeah.
I agree with everything that Sam has said. However, while I think it's bad in principle, I think that there are multiple practical and pragmatic harms that ought to be taken into consideration before you ban cultural appropriation, and I think it ultimately harms those it ought to protect.
I think the debaters did so well, and there was a lot of first-time speakers, which is always a bit scary. It's really intimidating to get up there, I know that.
I've spent a major portion of my life in a majorly Western European, English-speaking, white country.
It was a close call. I mean, I think we rarely get the A's and the N's that close.
The eyes have it, but narrow. So people come up with all sorts of different perspectives and ideas that you never would have even thought of. So in the end, I was surprised about how compelling many members of the opposition were. They had really strong arguments, and they came from places of really wanting people to understand each other's cultures.
I thought they were very valid arguments. I wasn't expecting. I was like, wow, like, fair enough. But I still think they're wrong.
It's mid-season on the UCD track, and sports scholarship student Darragh McIlhenny is preparing to defend his Irish indoor 3,000 metres title, which is an important step in his busy calendar of Irish and international events.
I had a couple of races over in America, which were a bit of a mixed bag, and that's been it. So this kind of, we're coming into the middle of the season now. It's kind of when you want to start putting your best performances out there, so hopefully I do that today.
Emmett Dunleavy is the UCD team coach.
Each of the athletes will have their own approach going into the race, so I'll have a conversation with each individual athlete in terms of how can you maximise your finishing position today. Oftentimes I'd have maybe 5 or 6 athletes in the same race. You have to have a separate conversation with each of the 5 or 6 athletes and give them a strategy that's going to help them maximise their potential. And in that particular conversation, you've got to leave out all of the other athletes that you're coaching. So yeah, it's kind of sort of like a Chinese wall in my head, but that's part of coaching. You know, when you're coaching a big group, they're the things you got to do.
Darragh's mum, Breda, dad, Tom, and little brother, Irla, have travelled from Cork in support.
We're all very invested in sport. Like there's 5 boys, ranging from 29 down to 9, very much involved with the GA, and they all run as well. So it's a busy house, very active house, and we wouldn't have it any other way. It's great, you know. I suppose we look at the calendar, have to decide where we're going, when we're going, who's going.
From when the first race that they had, or any of the lads had, which was probably 20 plus years ago, we haven't seen all of them, but we haven't missed too many either. And we enjoy it. We meet a lot of people. We've travelled places that we wouldn't have got the opportunity to, and we wouldn't have made the time to either. So it's been great from that point of view.
It's a great day out. We love it.
Darragh's brother Owen, however, is there to spoil the party.
I think we're very different characters before races equally though. Like
he never shuts up, and I just want to.
You love Snakes Island, and I'd be chatting away. I'd be like, shut up. Like, when was the first time you beat me? And you certainly haven't lost to me since.
I think we both know the answer to that one. A local 5k at home when I was 11, 12. He was winning it, and then there was a big hill with about like 300 metres to go, and I don't know what happened, but I just started legging it, and there was a photo of me coming up the hill with like a smile on my face, and he's like so dejected.
Yeah, dying.
That kind of put a nail in the coffin for your career early on.
The rest is history.
Every race is important, but you know you're on the national stage, so it's a big race for him, big race for him. So yeah, very important, especially on home soil.
Ready to go in about half an hour, so yeah, hopefully defend my title and have a good race. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah, have to get yourself ready for it. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Yeah.
I suppose it's a mom's job to be nervous. I let Darragh do the running and I'll do the nerves for him.
Every time I'm racing, I'm going out to try and do something huge, and when it doesn't come off, it tends to come off badly. Do you know what I mean? It's not a case of just missing it, or like I went out to try and break the Irish senior record for the indoor 5k last week. I got to like 3,000 metres on pace, and then the last 2k I just completely died, which happens, like, do you know what I mean? But it was very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much emotionally invested in the whole thing. You know, with Darragh and all the athletes that I coach, you become very friendly and very close with them. So when the days don't go to plan, the athletes are upset. But yeah, I try and keep my emotions hidden as much as possible. But you do feel the highs and lows as well.
After sitting comfortably in the pack and on the turn for the last lap, Darragh makes his move.
Yeah, it's great, yeah, especially when you know you're after putting the gap in behind. I suppose I kind of realised as I was down the back straight that I was moving really well, and I wanted to just push as hard as I could for the last 2. I'm just happy, like, you know what I mean? Probably a bit of relief as well, to be honest. Like, it's kind of strange when you're defending the title. It's like you're happy to win it, but you're kind of more just relieved and wanting to make sure that nothing went wrong and you got the job done, like, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Oh, I'm so very proud of you. Well done. That was brilliant run.
And the verdict from Mum Breda?
Relieved. Yeah, delighted, really delighted. Yeah, he ran a brilliant race. Yeah.
It's good to race against lads like Darragh, who's the best cross-country runner, best track runner in Ireland, like, and to test yourself, but I knew I had to take it out, so I can't really complain. I took it out. It's tough trying to hold on by yourself, but fair play. Darragh came around me and got a well-deserved win.
The McIlhenny family might have another gold medalist in the making.
I'd like to be an athlete. If you just keep on trying to do it, then you might actually have a chance. But if you just sit around all day long and do absolutely nothing, then you won't. I think he'll be able to go very far. He has a good future ahead of him.
That's my fifth national senior medal now, so yeah, hoping to keep adding to the collection over the next few years. I got European Championships in 2 weeks, so yeah, there won't be too much heavy celebrating, but yeah, just go back to the house and chill out myself.
Darragh is an athlete of Olympic standard, so the focal point of his career over the next couple of years will be that Olympic cycle.
It was great that Darragh got his Ad Astra scholarship. You know, it was always his choice to go to UCD, and then, of course, from an accommodation point of view, everybody knows what the accommodation crisis in Dublin. So from our point of view, it was great. So he moved in with other athletes. So, you know, there was a nice kind of atmosphere in the house. Don't know how clean the house was, but I won't go there.
Come next September, hopefully he'll be graduating then. But if he could do it and be wearing an Olympic medal or a European medal around his neck, that would look better than any robe, really.
Irish universities and their local communities are working together for a brighter future. Over the past months, design students from Technological University Dublin have been working to design a community space in the Arran Quay area of Dublin.
So we're a community development project. We deliver a huge variety of services to the local community. Because they're so varied, we need quite a versatile space. The space that the students are designing for us, it's on Bridfoot Street. It's been vacant for the last 20 years, and now we have the opportunity to turn it into a truly functional and useful and celebrated community resource.
It's a group of almost 40, and I break them into teams, and each team is given a space. Our first group is given a lot of responsibility, because we call them like Team 1, the master planners. They have to plan the whole building, because the building was an empty shell, and they have to then disperse that plan to the class.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked when I seen the role that I got, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like Team 10, like some lower level person, like random. And then I was like team leader of Team 1, and I was like, that's a lot. As I was working, like, I'm kind of really happy that I've got the role, like, even though it was so hard sometimes. And it was like, I thought like I would crumble from the pressure. It was nice to like just see how I thrive.
Team 1 was like the heart of the whole project, I guess.
There was a lot of back and forth in the beginning, like the early stages, especially with the floor plan, like pitching our idea, then like having to tweak this, then pitching another one, and then having to tweak it.
But the satisfaction we get just from completing the work is just, I feel proud of myself.
So we as a team are Team 4, and we were assigned to do the multi-purpose space and the recording room. Basically, we made sure to do a floor plan as well and present our work very carefully so they can understand what they're seeing. I feel like we chose really nice elements. We chose like different ones for the seating, concrete for the steps. One of our teammates here thought up of a really nice idea to do a tree that goes up to the ceiling with leaves that come around the ceiling as well, which would be a very nice centerpiece and very nice concept of design.
At the start, we had like a whole different layout. Like we had the tree that's on the side, it was in the middle, but we realized that that probably wasn't functional as we were told by our tutors.
I feel like we're all very nervous for the presentation, but we're also excited because I feel like we did really well and we really hope they like it. I feel like they would. I feel like we're all very confident in that aspect,
Welcome everybody.
After 5 months of hard work, it's presentation time for the design teams.
Tracy, our lecturer, asked us to help mentor the first years, so I think it was interesting to get a peer perspective. So we were helping them with a little bit of advice, anything that they were kind of having issues with. And then our lecturer asked us that perhaps maybe we could create a 3D model of the video and do a walkthrough. So it's a bit above what first years learn. Like, we don't really go into that here until you're in second year. It gives a good context, but it doesn't go into too much detail, so it still lets their designs.
When I was in first year and I looked at the posters of the final years, that was so daunting. I would think, I have no idea how we're going to get to that point. Like, it seemed really impossible. But through the course of the 4 years, like, you don't even realise the steps you're taking.
This is all ahead of them now.
As you can see, there's a lot of natural elements to it. There's a lot of plants, a lot of like wood and like light colours. And the kind of, I'm not gonna lie, we were a bit like underdeveloped, maybe under-practiced a bit. But I think despite that, we still did pretty well. And I think my group really pulled through. I had a few laughs and I feel like I didn't stutter as much as I thought I would, which is good. So they could actually understand what I was saying.
So it definitely has been a really good learning experience, especially seeing the other teams present. There's definitely some elements that we missed out on within our own presentation, and I would love to incorporate next time.
And as you can see here, this is the other wood for the flooring of the multi-purpose space and the concrete that would be used for the steps to go up. I think it went well. I don't really know. I was nervous I was going to mess up or something, but I didn't. I saw him like writing down a few notes and smiling, so I hope that's a good sign that he liked it. But we'll have to see. There you go, Austin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I love the tree. I absolutely love the tree. I became blown away. I guess the main feeling that I take away from today is how collaborative everybody is. I'm not an architect. I see all of that. I think it's all beautiful and wonderful, and it's highly functional, and it's sensitive to our community's needs. So maybe I'm being naive, but I'd like to bring it like all into the final design. It will obviously depend on our budget and if it's technically possible to do that, but there isn't any one thing that I saw today that I didn't like.
For the students, the hands-on project offered a valuable insight into the possibilities that may lie ahead.
Someone who went to this school like a few years back came in and he kind of like did a presentation and told us about his business, and just like watching that presentation just cemented it for me, like I'm gonna do this. Like, it's cringe, but like I was like it kind of inspired me, like, you know, the reason why I'm doing this is what I want to do, and I kind of want to be like him, have my own business, maybe my own partners, and just kind of like go around the world designing homes and everything.
Building an understanding of the past is a key component of the work of University of Galway archivist Niamh Ní Charra. The university holds the private and public papers of many important Irish people. Niamh is responsible for the extensive archive of former President Mary Robinson, who is one of Ireland's most respected figures in the worlds of politics, law, and human rights. The university works closely with the Mary Robinson Centre, and today Niamh is in Ballina, County Mayo, at Mary's childhood home.
I think what's really special about this archive is that it's in the west of Ireland. It's in the University of Galway, where it has the proper storage and proper facilities and will be open to researchers, but it's very much linked to this building as well. This is the Mary Robinson Centre in Ballina, what was originally her home.
So today's been the first event at the Mary Robinson Centre. The centre was developed, in Mary's words, to create a place where people could come and feel inspired to make change in their own life. The people we've brought in today are young people. They're students who are in the senior cycle in secondary school from local Mayo schools. So they're young Mayo people, and they're learning from somebody who was once in their shoes in this house.
They call this the coach house, and it's a lovely building. This was the old turf shed. The old turf shed, and the lane beside where there's an entrance out was where a donkey and cart literally would come and dump the turf, and my brothers, my older brothers, would go out with a wheelbarrow and wheel in the turf and then stack it in the turf shed. You know, it was growing up with those four brothers 2 of them older than me and 2 of them younger than me, that really brought home to me the importance of human rights, of gender equality, of using my elbows. You know, that was really where it all started.
To be honest, Dr. Robinson is inspirational because she represents a voice for justice, not only just climate justice, it cut across. And I think our life history is one that young leaders, young activists like myself can draw inspiration from.
Many of us who live in different regions or regions that are very vulnerable to climate impact are facing severe hardships. And what that brings to the table is the fact that children like your age are losing their childhood and are not getting education.
My parents kept repeating to me that I had the same opportunities as my 4 brothers over and over again, but Irish society wasn't telling me that. And you know, my brothers became altar boys. I had to wear a scarf in church. All these things. And then I was reading that women, married women, had to leave the civil service once they married, and women couldn't sit on juries.
No action is too small to make a difference.
I love the girl power now of young climate activists. The way girls are really stepping up and being encouraged to step up and being encouraged to have the qualities that help them to be ambitious, to speak up, to disrupt.
The next phase is actually the really exciting phase because it's where we put colour and life into the building. And over the next couple of months, we'll work to create audiovisual experiences, to create interactive experiences, to showcase some of the interesting artefacts from her archive, some of the really interesting events and the documentation around that. And that will all fill out these rooms and bring them to life.
Essentially, the idea is that as you walk through the centre, going from room to room, you're able to join the dots in her working life and career, but also in your own, and that you will be inspired to go away and do your bit, essentially, for climate change. She is a hugely significant character, and I think many people who access this archive will find it stunning. There's 55 years of a political career here, only 7 as the presidency. It's all incredibly rewarding to be looking at it. I can only imagine how rewarding it was to be the person doing it.
Next time on My Uni Life. We are going green. We meet members of Maynooth University Icarus Centre who are in Wexford to measure the effects of climate change.
We do need a lot more climate warriors out here.
We are in UCC, which has been recognised as one of the world's most sustainable universities.
That's a huge achievement. Everybody should be proud of it.
We visit the Gnomes, who are starting a growing culture at DCU.
We decided to take the bull by the horns, start being responsible for our food.
And we are with students who are bringing new life into the world at UCD's Lions Farm.
I just love animals, I love agriculture.